People often call Donald Trump's career a family business, and it makes sense since almost all his kids are involved in his projects. Even his youngest son, Barron, has started showing up at his dad's official events, but things have always been smooth between them all. I was very strict with Don and Ivanka and Eric and Tiffany, which of the younger Trumps didn't talk to their father for years. And why does Donald's special bond with Ivanka get criticized? Has anybody ever heard of Ivanka? People love Ivanka, get ready. To hear about Trump's relationships with his 5 children from 3 different women, the details will surprise you. Barron Trump, Donald Trump's 5th and youngest child, is currently the one drawing the most attention. I'm not allowed to call them boys, but he's my boy, they're all my boys, right? Trump even mentioned that Barron could become much more popular than his other sons, and we can't deny it. Thank you. People can't help but notice how much 18-year-old Barron is like his dad now, not just in appearance, but also in his style and manner of. Speaking of which, he and his father share a common interest in golf. They were recently spotted together on a golf course. Barron sat beside his dad in a golf cart while Donald chatted with the paparazzi. By the way, Trump has been talking a lot about his youngest son lately, and it seems he's very proud of him, especially since Barron has started showing an interest in politics. He's a little on the tall side, I will tell you. He's a tall one, but he's a good-look guy, and he's really been a great student, and he does like politics. It's sort of funny. He'll tell me sometimes, "Dad, this is what you have to do." He graduated from Oxbridge Academy in West Palm Beach this May. Trump even missed his own court hearing because, according to him, he was supposed to attend his son's graduation party, and most recently, Barron made his debut appearance at one of his father's campaign rallies in Florida. The audience greeted the 18-year-old boy with applause, and Donald referred to his son as Special Guy. A very young man who's now going to college got into every college he wanted to, and he made his choice, and he's a very good guy, I'll tell you. It was surprising that Barron endorsed his father on the campaign trail. In fact, his mother, Melania Trump, had tried to keep him out of the spotlight for years. That's why she didn't immediately move with him to the White House during Trump's presidency. Barron needed to finish the school year first, but I made the decision. I will be a parent to our boy, and I know that the First Lady, Melania, has a big job back in New York, taking care of Barron. Yes. Does it make it a lonely place for you at the end of the day? No, because I end up working longer, and that's okay. Donald doesn't hide the fact that work has always been his top priority. There simply wasn't enough time to focus on raising Barron. I'm not going to be doing the diapers. I'm not going to be making the food. I may never even see the kids. While Trump hasn't been very involved in the lives of his other kids either. Donald Trump Jr., the oldest of Trump's children, and today perhaps his most passionate defender. In fact, he was the first to step up alongside his dad. After Donald Trump was found guilty in his hush money trial, this is a shame, it's insane, and it needs to stop. 46-year-old Donald Jr. often compares himself to his father. He's ambitious, driven, and unafraid to engage in controversy, even if it leads to a scandal. I was a lot more like my dad than probably any of us would have thought, when you sort of back us into a corner. We sort of fight the same way. We have that same characteristic. By the way, people still remember his passion for hunting big game with his brother Eric. Photos surfaced online showing them posing with killed animals, including a leopard and a crocodile. Of course, Trump Jr. faced criticism for these actions, but it seems he doesn't care that I like it. I love venties, I love the meat, and, like I said, hunting's been good to me. It's get me out of a lot of other trouble I would have gotten into growing up. Donald's son also enjoys attacking Trump's enemies. For instance, he confronted Robert Dyro for apparently speaking out against the presidential candidate. He needs attention 'cause it's been a while since he cranked out a good movie. In 2001, Donald Jr. joined the Trump Organization and served as executive vice president alongside his younger brother. My son is a wonderful young man. Great young man. He's a fine person. He was also a guest judge on his father's TV show The Apprentice. The oldest son became a very active speaker during Trump's 2016 campaign. I don't know. My only mission is to get him there because I know he can make a difference when Donald Trump wins the election. He even cried, one of the more surreal moments of my life, other than perhaps the birth of my children. I mean, Trump Jr. is a father of 5 himself, divorced from his ex-wife Vanessa since 2018. Interestingly, he had a tough time as a kid with his parents' messy divorce. It's well known that Donald Trump cheated on his first wife, Ivanka, with Mara Maples at the time, was 12 years old and refused to speak to his father. For several years, to divert attention, Ivanka decided to send him to boarding school. Eventually, Donald Jr. took the first step to recalibrate with his famous father. Since then, he has expressed gratitude to both Ivanka and Donald for everything. I think you've done an amazing job, and Mom's done an amazing job really getting us to work for anything we ever really wanted in our lives. I think that's why we're successful at what we do today. Rumor has it appears that Trump Jr. is the leading candidate to continue his father's political career, judging by his actions. He seems quite open to this possibility, which is incredibly popular with the Trump FAI. He speaks their language. He's a big sportsman, gun advocate. On the contrary, his younger brother, who is also his business partner, who kept a low profile for a long time, Eric Trump, the second son of Donald Trump and his first wife, Ivanka, preferred to stay in the shadow of the famous family name like his brother. He also had a tough time with his parents' divorce. Eric ended up isolating himself because he couldn't handle all the attention. People are more critical of you. There are stereotypes. People often call you spoiled because you grew up in a prominent family. After finishing his education at Georgetown, Eric also began co-managing the Trump Organization, and he approached the business with great responsibility. I run my foundation based on the principles my father taught me: honesty, integrity, and values. According to Trump's children, their father began paying more attention to them as they grew older, but no one seems to have grudge. Eric says he's ready to support his dad in anything. My father has the biggest responsibility of any person arguably on planet. His focus is going to be running this country. The 40-year-old Eric's known for his manners and calmness compared to Donald, as in, for example, he displayed politeness and emotional restraint during his father's trial. I'm just proud of the toughest person I've ever met in my entire life. And I'm proud to have stood there every single second by his side in that freezing, cold courtroom. He's an inspiration to me every single day, and he'll be vindicated. Next to Eric, wife, producer Laura Trump. They've been married for 10 years and have 2 kids together. Today, Donald's son is stepping into a more public role defending his father, and experts believe he'll shine in his campaign. At the same time, the most famous child of the presidential candidate has decided to take a step back for now: Ivanka Trump. There's a widely held belief that she is Donald Trump's favorite child. She is a special person. She's smart and she's got every quality you can possibly have, and it has been like that since she was a little girl. Donald would stop all in his business negotiations for her. He would pick up the phone every single time, and he'd put me on speakerphone. It wouldn't be a long conversation. He'd introduce me to whoever was in his office. Maybe Trump was already preparing his daughter for a big career because, in the end, she became successful and went very much like him in many ways. First tried modeling and eventually launched her own jewelry and fashion lines. However, when Trump decided to run for president, she stepped away from her business. It's emotional. My father will be president, and hopefully I can be There to support him, Ivanka focused on helping Trump during the election and afterward, playing a significant role, especially when Trump faced heavy criticism for his misogynistic statements. "My father has empowered women, and including me, his whole life." Then, she was referred to as a proto-wife because Trump had given his older daughter more power than any of his women or colleagues. What's your reaction, though, when you hear people say she's going to be essentially the real First Lady? Well, I think it's an inappropriate observation. Some even believe that Donald not only has paternal feelings for his daughter. For instance, he has often commented on her appearance, saying that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her, you know? Oh, it's so weird. No matter what Donald says, 42-year-old Ivanka always stands by his side. She describes him as a complex father, but also the best in all aspects of his life. I think more people in this business like to hear them speak. You really, genuinely like to know what people think, and then you dissect it yourself, including us. But what's notable is that Ivanka Trump's strongest ally in his campaign have decided not to participate this time. "I love my father very much. This time around, I am choosing to prioritize my young children and the private life we are creating as a family. I do not plan to be involved in politics." Perhaps Trump's youngest daughter will step in to fill her role. Tiffany Trump, for a long time, she was seen as the black sheep of the family's affair with her mother, Mara Maples, was heavily debated in the media, and when the couple divorced, their daughter was only 5 years old. "She's really a beautiful baby. She got his legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell." At that young age, Trump was largely absent from the child's life. Her father wasn't able to be there with day-to-day skills. As a parent, he loves his kids, there's no doubt, but everything was a bit of negotiation. They saw each other only during holidays, and she rarely visited